Artificial intelligence powerhouse Nvidia reportedly now working on a new chip to sell in China. Reuters with the report saying the company hopes to begin delivering samples as soon as next month, despite potential regulatory hurdles. Doug Flynn is here on this, co-founder at Flynn Zito Capital Management. Before I do that, Doug, I have a really disturbing story. Did you see the guy we had on a few minutes ago on the scammers? He was talking about scams. But anyway, we had a guy talking about scams a few minutes ago, and I thought when he left that he stole my phone because I couldn't find my phone, but here it is. Now, it wasn't it. I said, what the hell? What's the odds the guy talking about scams is scamming me? No. We now in the control room have a suspect who's been detained who actually did steal my phone.
Uh-oh. There he is.
Mr. G, who has no idea how a phone even works, walks off set with about 5 phones. Mine was one of them. And there he is. So he should be
He can't
have his
hide.
hands behind his back.
He's trying to hide, but he can't.
I said, oh, God, what did the guy had left the building already. It's like, I lost my phone to the scam artist? Then Mr. G comes wandering over. Anyway, what do you make of Nvidia selling chips in China, Doug?
Yeah, it's interesting to me because not that long ago they were sort of not allowed to sell those chips in China, and then Trump had a change of heart and sort of created his own little version of Shark Tank and said, you know what, I'm going to act like Mr. Wonderful and get a royalty for the United States.
Right.
And that if you sell them, both NVIDIA and AMD, we're going to take 15% of all the sales. So it doesn't cost us anything, but if you're going to do that, you can increase the level of the chip that you're selling over there, and it's going to be a much better chip than they have right now. And then, of course, what's going to happen is they'll sell that, and then they'll come out with an even better chip that we'll be able to get. But that's what's going to happen. They'll be able to use it. The bottom line here is NVIDIA has 85% market share on AI data center chips. So even though their competition is increasing, they still have the market on that, and so this is a way to participate in that and allow them to sell it to them. So that should be a plus for the market for the stock today. But I think the tech sector is selling off a little bit after a 40% run off the bottom in April, which is what's happening.
I was mentioning that earlier. It's like when you hit these highs, at some point we're going to have a down day, and at least for tech stocks, today's that day. Speaking of tech, we're going to talk about this more in detail next hour. But this idea that the government might, there was a report to this, take a stake in Intel, like an equity stake, 10%. Do you understand why? Like what the reasoning would be, and would this be good for Intel? Or?
Well, Intel is interesting because at the peak, 25 years ago this month, the market cap of Intel was $500 billion. It is now about $100 billion. So it's somewhat of a turnaround story. They want to bring back sort of semiconductor manufacturing back to the U.S., which is basically Taiwan Semis, the best version of this we have. But that's a concern because it's so close to China, and you never know what's going to happen with that. And so this is a bet that maybe we can bring some of that back over here. And they already have money allocated, $8.5 billion allocated from the CHIPS Act from Biden. So Trump's just twisting it and saying,
well, they would convert that to equity? Is that the idea? But well, maybe that's what the report said.
Yeah, just instead of giving money away as a grant like we do with our taxpayer money, how about for that grant, which a grant, the difference between a loan and a grant is a loan, you pay it back with interest. A grant is just free money. So rather than just give away our taxpayer money for free, why don't you trade us for a percentage of ownership in the stock? And if Intel does turn around, and it goes back up to $500 billion, then we'll all participate in that as Americans. And that's, I think, the stake. So once again, it's sort of Shark Tank themed again. Before you had a royalties deal, now you have an equity deal with really money that was already allocated. And so that's where this is coming from. It's not really something we've done as a country before. Other countries absolutely do.
You know, a little bit. We've taken equity stakes in certain companies, right? In 2008 on the bailout, there was some of that.
True.
So maybe
that is true.
That was a little bit of a flashback. Those were different times. Thank you, Doug. 4 p.m. Eastern Time.